All right, welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're going to dive into a company that's trying to tackle one of the biggest problems in, well, just about everything we buy and sell, trust. They're building something they call a trust machine for the physical world, and we're going to break down exactly how it works.
Okay, so to really get what DeReticular is up to, let's paint a picture. Imagine a hemp farmer, way out in a remote part of Uganda. At the exact same time, you've got a buyer in Amsterdam who wants to purchase that hemp for industrial manufacturing. Now, these two have never met. They're separated by thousands of miles.
And this gets us right to the heart of the problem. How does that buyer in Amsterdam actually know that the hemp is the right quality, that it's the right weight, and that it really came from where the farmer says it did? I mean, traditionally, you'd have to rely on this long, expensive chain of middlemen, auditors, certifiers, shipping companies, and they all take a cut. But what if? What if you could create that trust without any of them?
And look, this isn't just some hypothetical thought experiment. As DeReticular points out in their own business plan, global trade is suffering from a full-blown crisis of trust. Buyers just don't believe the data they're given, and sellers have a really hard time proving their products are the real deal. This is the massive problem they've decided to fix.
But here's where it gets really, really tricky. To solve the trust problem, you need total transparency. But to operate in the real world, legally, you need to maintain strict privacy. So how on earth can you be both transparent and private at the exact same time? It sounds kind of impossible, right?
Let's break this conflict down. On one side, you've got what we can call the regulatory mandate. This is the official rulebook you have to follow. But on the other side, you have the trust mandate, which is what the free market demands before anyone's going to hand over their money. And as you're about to see, these two forces are in a total tug-of-war.
Okay, so let's start with the rules. Financial regulators, like the SEC, require intense know-your-customer checks. You can't just be anonymous. Then you've got massive privacy laws like GDPR, which mean you absolutely cannot plaster a farmer's personal data all over a public database. And of course, things like pricing, that's a business secret. So right off the bat, the idea of a completely public, transparent system is a total non-starter.
But then you look at the flip side. A totally private, centralized database doesn't work either. Buyers are, for good reason, super skeptical of data that a single company controls and could, change. The market is screaming for a permanent, unchangeable record of a product's history. A record that's so tough it would still be there even if the company that made it went bankrupt or got shut down.
So you've got this deadlock. The regulators in the market want opposite things. How do you move forward? Well, this is where DeReticular rolls out a really clever solution that they call the split ledger architecture. The real genius here is that they stop trying to cram everything into one box. Instead, they just split the data. All the sensitive stuff, identity, money, contracts, goes in one direction. And all the physical proof about the product itself, its quality, its origin, that goes in a completely different direction.
Think of the first half of this system as the bank. This is the private ledger. It's where all the sensitive information lives. The farmer's name, their payment details, all the legal contracts. Access is super locked down. This is the part designed to keep the regulators happy. And then you have the other half, which they call the library. This is the public ledger. It runs on a decentralized network called Freenet, which is key because it means no single company, not even DeReticular, controls it. It only stores the physical facts about the hemp, its grade, its weight, its origin. It's public, it's permanent, and anyone can check it. This is the side that's built for pure trust.
The whole process is actually super straightforward. First, the farmer brings in the crop, and an AI camera analyzes and grades it on the spot. Second, and this is the magic step, a special piece of hardware creates a cryptographic signature for that data. Third, the split happens. The financial info gets sent to the private bank, and the physical proof gets published to the public library. Now, that second step, the signing, is the real secret sauce here. It's all powered by a piece of tech that DeReticular calls the hardware oracle, and it's the thing that makes this whole system actually, work. So, what is a hardware oracle? Well, in simple terms, it's a physical machine, in this case their Arios node, that acts as a super secure bridge between the physical world and the digital one. It literally witnesses a real-world event, like the grading of that hemp, and then it creates an unforgeable digital signature proving that it happened, when it happened, and what the results were. Okay, and this is absolutely the most important part to get. Inside that machine, there's a special security chip called a Trusted Platform Module, or TPM. This chip creates a unique private key that is physically burned into the hardware itself. It can never be copied, it can never be stolen, it never leaves that device. It means the signature could only have come from that one physical machine. period.
And this completely flips the idea of trust on its head. It's summed up perfectly by this line from their own strategy doc. The whole point isn't to say, hey, trust our company, we're good people. The point is to say, don't trust us. Instead, trust the math. Anyone on planet Earth can go and independently verify the signature on the public freenet, that decentralized library we talked about.
So, the tech is amazing. It's groundbreaking. But it's also a business, right? So how do you actually make money off of a system of automated trust?
Their business model is built on 3 layers. First, there's a one-time fee to set up the specialized hardware. Then you've got your classic monthly software subscription, a SaaS fee, to use the system. And finally, and this is really cool, they take a tiny attestation fee every single time a new batch of product is certified on the network.
And when you put those 3 streams together, the growth is just explosive. You can see they're starting small in year 1, just validating the model. But then it jumps to over $1 million in year 2, and they're projecting it'll hit $6 million by year 3 as more and more of these nodes come online.
But honestly, the number that really makes your jaw drop is this one, a projected 75% profit margin by their 3rd year. I mean, how is that even possible? Well, it's the beauty of software. Once the core system is built, the marginal cost of certifying one more batch of hemp is basically 0. It's a business model that scales like crazy.
All right, so the tech works, the business model looks solid, so what's next? What's the big picture here? What is the long-term vision for this trust machine?
They've laid out a really clear 3-year plan. 2026 is all about validation, proving this hardware oracle concept can work in the messy, real world. Then in 2027, they hit the gas on commercialization, scaling to 50 nodes and launching an app for buyers. And by 2028, the goal is to build out a whole ecosystem, opening up their API so others can build on top of it, and scaling to more than 250 nodes. And what's really fueling all this isn't just their own tech. They are perfectly positioned to ride some massive waves happening in the market. First, there's the real-world asset or RWA boom, the whole idea of creating digital tokens for physical things. Second, you have all these new ESG regulations demanding exactly this kind of verifiable proof of origin. And finally, you could even see a future where a farmer uses this proven history to get a loan directly from a DeFi platform, no traditional bank needed. And that really leaves us with this one kind of mind-blowing question. Yeah, they're starting with hemp, but this technology could work for almost anything. So think about it. What if every single physical object, from the coffee bean in your morning cup to a carbon credit for a flight, had its own permanent, unbreakable, and publicly verifiable history? What would that world look like?